Do the right thing. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, if Joe Biden's presidency were a disaster movie, it would be like Titanic and the Poseidon Adventure all rolled into one. Not only has the SOS Biden collided with an iceberg, it's capsized. And now Democrats are scrambling aboard what they think is the last lifeboat, a $3.5 trillion behemoth spending bill.
This is, in many ways, what might define what his presidency is about.
Will easily be the most dramatic expansion of the social safety net since LBJ's Great Society.
This is going to be one of the key moments that Joe Biden is going to have in his presidency, and a legacy-defining moment.
Of course, the ropes for that lifeboat may have already been cut. With a 50-50 split in the Senate, Biden can't afford a single Democrat defection, or else the $3.5 trillion spenderama goes nowhere. Enter Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who came out against this massive money grab in his Wall Street Journal op-ed last week, saying, "I've always said that if I can't explain it, I can't vote for it. And I can't explain why my Democratic colleagues are rushing to spend $3.5 trillion. Yesterday, Axios reported Manchin is open to $1.5 trillion, which we also can't afford. And, of course, that would be new spending, which Chuck Schumer and company resoundingly rejected outright. But that doesn't mean the Democrats are just going to unfurl the white flag. Oh, no, no. If Biden's ship sinks, they all sink with him. Schumer and Pelosi need this bloated spending bill as much as he does. Now, think of the leverage this gives Manchin. He could theoretically save Biden's presidency, kind of. But of course, to do that, he'd have to vote yes on a hyper-partisan bill that, by his own admission, could very well exacerbate inflation and debt. That may be a bridge too far, even for a flexible Democrat like Manchin. Which is why the left is using a two-pronged strategy here. One prong involves plaudits and appeals to party loyalty.
He's always been there. He's always been with me. I think we can work something out.
Joe is a good Democrat.
He's very persuadable.
He is someone that many times have been willing to get to a place that's the right place.
The other prong is what you see in the press every day, vicious attacks from radical talking heads.
Joe Manchin is a monster of the Democrats' own making. Because the more you keep feeding the beast and telling them that they have control over you, they will exert that control.
What the Tea Party did to hamstring the agenda of President Obama for years, West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is trying to do to President Biden's agenda now.
A big problem, for Biden's agenda, Joe Manchin.
Practice fighting with Joe Manchin. Practice fighting. See how it feels.
I like when Joy Reid does. That's right. I love that. Well, what should be obvious to Manchin is that no one you just heard actually cares if he does what's right for his constituents. In fact, they hate Joe Manchin's constituents. They helped get Trump into office, after all. And in West Virginia, a large number of Trump voters also voted for Manchin. Why? Because they trusted him when he said that he wasn't like those other Democrats.
As your senator, I'll protect our Second Amendment rights. That's why the NRA endorsed me. I'll take on Washington and this administration to get the federal government off of our backs and out of our pockets. I'll cut federal spending, and I'll repeal the bad parts of Obamacare. I sued EPA, and I'll take dead aim at the cap-and-trade bill.
Now, where's that guy about don't pick our pockets? But it's one thing to make a promise on the election trail, and, well, of course, another one to keep that promise when the entire Democratic establishment is pressing you to betray your constituents. So we have to ask, will Manchin hold? Well, does he surrender to Pelosi and Schumer? He break faith with the good people of West Virginia and then vote yes to help AOC and company move us closer to socialism? Or does he do the right thing and put the interests of his constituents and all Americans ahead of the hard left? Does he side with the squad, the rest of the radicals who hate this country, or will he listen to the people of West Virginia? The latest civics poll has Biden's approval at just 21% in West Virginia. His disapproval is at 74%. So if Manchin does the right thing and just stands up for the people who sent him to Washington, the choice for him is obvious. Biden's crazy dream of creating new entitlements, turning America into a left-wing catastrophe has to be stopped. The people of West Virginia didn't vote for Joe Biden or Pelosi or Schumer. They voted for Manchin, and he promised that he'd fight for West Virginians. So now's the time. Kill this nutty bill once and for all. Let's start working on rebuilding the country we love, not continuing Biden's disaster movie. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.